Hey everyone, in today's video we're going over my 3 tips to make money in a bear market. Even if what we're in right now isn't considered a bear market, when we are one and again, these tips will still apply and help you a lot. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Ben. I've made over 6 figures trading crypto. I'm on a journey to 10K a month of passive income to spend more time with friends and family, and I want to help you all do the same. Let's go. Tip number 1 is watch and learn the cycles. Mainly focus on how Bitcoin moves against altcoins. When things are red and you don't want to keep checking the prices all the time, this is the perfect time to spend learning the cycles and creating strategies and perfecting the craft of investing and trading. I learned the majority of how to trade and created strategies during the last bear market. And I learned so much from doing trades when I saw the opportunity. Now, one of the biggest things that I learned is that it doesn't matter if we are in a bull market or a bear market, Bitcoin and altcoins will move up at different times, which is why we have alt seasons, but we also have Bitcoin seasons, where most of the money flows into Bitcoin and altcoins lose against their Bitcoin trading pair. Now, one of the best indicators to check to see if we're in an alt season or in a Bitcoin season is using Bitcoin dominance. All right, so we're here on CoinMarketCap, and where you would find the Bitcoin dominance is up at the top, where it says the amount of cryptos, exchanges, market caps, 24-hour volume, and dominance. So this shows Bitcoin dominance at 45.9% and Ethereum dominance at 17.8%. All right, so CoinMarketCap wasn't working, so we're gonna use CoinGecko instead. And this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. So I have it on overlapping because stacked it's hard to see, but basically the top line up here is Bitcoin and the percentage, and this is the max. And then down here we have like Ethereum, Litecoin, XLM, these will change, XRP. And so Bitcoin, you can see, was 90% when it first started, or back in like 2013. That's what most of the market cap was made of, is Bitcoin. It was like 90%. And then once little alt seasons happened, it would go down. So like it was at 91% and then it would go down a little bit. And that was during an alt season, I would say. And it went down to like 70%. And then back in 2017, when we had the first alt season, this was in the middle of 2017. This was like March and April and May of 2017. And we saw Bitcoin dominance drop from 85% all the way down to 38%. And so basically altcoins just performed very well, and they performed super well against Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin just kind of traded sideways. And then Bitcoin dominance started to come back up, went back up to 66%, and that was at the end of 2017. And then we had a final alt season, and dominance went back down to about 30%. And then it's come back up. And then recently in 2020, we had a little alt season. So Bitcoin was around 65, 70%. And then right around this time in September, from July or from the summer till about September, altcoins ran. Bitcoin dominance dropped to about 55% or so. And then Bitcoin got the dominance back. Then Bitcoin got dominance back at 71%. And then early 2021, altcoins had another good run, and Bitcoin dominance just dropped to about 40%. And then now recently it's starting to gain some traction, and it's up about to 45%. It could be at like 50 to 55% again. We'll see. And so currently I would say we're in a Bitcoin season. So a lot of people are moving their money over to Bitcoin, and that's why we see a lot of altcoins losing against Bitcoin, because people are moving their money into Bitcoin right now. And then that will flip again. So ideally, if you had Bitcoin, the time to be switching some of that Bitcoin into altcoins would be right now. And now I want to show you some examples of this. Let's just start with Ethereum. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Bitcoin trading pair. So Ethereum against Bitcoin. And if we look at the historic chart, we've seen it go from, this is in Satoshis, So it's gone up to about 0.14 at the all-time high. So that means it was worth like 0.14 of a Bitcoin, and that would be about 14 million Satoshis. And then it came back down. That was in the middle of 2017. So that was like when we talked about how Bitcoin dominance dropped from 85% down to like 40%. This is what Ethereum did. It went from being worth 0.01 or about a million Satoshis, did about a 14x against Bitcoin. So essentially, if you had some Ethereum, you could have sold it a couple months later for 14 times more Bitcoin than you would have gotten before. And then if you sell it around these prices and you wait, then you could rebuy. Even let's just say you rebuy at 0.05 or 5 million Satoshis. You would 3x your position in ETH, the amount that you sold. And then if you waited, of course these are like the ideal and like perfect scenarios, which you're not going to hit perfect, but if you did hit it perfect and you sold at 14 million sats and you rebought right around the low at 3 million sats, you could have basically almost 5 times your Ethereum position. And then again, when there's another alt season, it's gone up to 0.1 or 10 million Satoshis. So then you could have sold again and sold some of it again, and you would have 3 times more Bitcoin by buying here and selling here, and then rebuying somewhere along here. And it was trading around 0.01 to 0.03 for a very long time. So it was around the 1 to 3 million Satoshis for a while. And then in beginning of 2021 is when it started to go up. And it went up to about, the highest I think I've seen it is 0.08. So yeah, like 8.5 million Satoshis is the highest that we've seen it. And then now recently it's starting to drop again. And so it's currently at 6.5 million. We could see it drop down to 5, maybe even 4 or 3 million Satoshis. And so that's kind of how these cycles work, is you want to sell your altcoins when they're doing very well into Bitcoin, and not necessarily all of them, but a portion of them, and then wait to rebuy when Bitcoin's doing well against those altcoins. Or like the market that we're in right now, everything's dropping, but altcoins are dropping faster than Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin charts are out. So on the Bitcoin against altcoin charts, Bitcoin is doing a lot better. So that'd be a good time to trade some Bitcoin into these altcoins. Another example is Crow. If we look at Crow, its all-time high was like about 2,500 Satoshis, and the all-time low was about 150 Satoshis. So back in 2020, it had a run up from a couple cents all the way to like 15 cents or so. And the Bitcoin chart, it was up to 1,500 to 1,600 Satoshis. And then after that, it dropped all the way down to 200, and then as low as 150 Satoshis. So this would be like the perfect time to buy, was around these prices. And then basically, I mean, you could sell, if you bought some around 200 Satoshis, you could sell it at 400 or sell a portion of it, and you double the Bitcoin that you had before. Then if you sold more at 800, you would quadruple it. And then you could essentially sell, because it went up to 1,500 Satoshis again, and that would basically 10x your position if you bought at 150, and about a 7.5x if you bought at 200. And then you wait to rebuy. These are very, very long-term trades, so you might have to wait a few months to even find a good entry. And then if you sold around 1,500 and you rebought, right now we're around 500 to 600, you would double and almost triple your position. And last one we're going to look at is scale, SKL. Now this Bitcoin chart has been quite a bit higher, and this is also how I would determine price ranges from where you want to sell these Bitcoin pairs, because this coin has gone up all the way to about 1,500 Satoshis and was starting around 200, and I think even right now it's below that, or it is about at 200 again. And then recently, just about a month and a half ago, it went up to 650 Satoshis. So if you sold some about 2 months ago, and then you waited to rebuy, or you set an order to rebuy at 300, you would double your position, and that would have went through, and you could have even tried to set it for around 200, and you could triple that position. So these are, like I said, super long-term trades, but these happen during a bear market as well, like not just in a bull run. Like in 2019, Bitcoin went by itself. So we're gonna adjust this a little bit because we just want to see. So the bull run was 2017, and then 2018 and 2019 were the bear market. And Bitcoin had this run up from the beginning of 2019 from about 3,500, 4,000, all the way up to 14,000. It says 13,000 here, but I remember it was like 14,000, and it was all by itself. So if you were holding Bitcoin, you could have put that into altcoins that you were holding as well and gotten like 3 or 4 times more of those altcoins just by using that Bitcoin. And then altcoins ran up again, so then that Bitcoin lost a little bit of its dominance, and then you could have switched back over and bought a lot more Bitcoin. So all these little run-ups like this right here, these all make a big difference in the long run. And you can really start to recognize the cycles and recognize the patterns. Tip number 2 is dollar cost average. Now, more than dollar cost average, you should put in more when the prices are even lower and less when they're higher. So it'll give you a better average buy-in price. This is called value investing, and you can decide what price ranges indicate to put in 50% of your weekly buy in amount or 150%. So for example, if I were to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin every single week, I would set it up that between like 50 and 60,000, I would buy 40% of my weekly buy-in amount. So instead of using $100, I'd put in $40. And then what I would do is I would use that extra $60 and just set it in an order to use later on when I'm going to be using 125% or 150% of my weekly buy. And then between 40 and 50K, I would use about 60% or $60 a week. Between 35 and 40K, I would buy 80% or $80 a week. And then between 30 and 35K, I would buy 100% or $100 a week. Then for 25 to 30K, I would buy 125% or $125 a week. Then at 20K or below, I would do $150 a week. Now this is for the current prices. If there is a new trading range after 6 months or so, then you can adjust these ranges for which you would buy in weekly. Tip number 3 is don't let your emotions control you. When we're seeing a lot of red day after day and week after week, it's pretty near impossible to not feel some sadness or disappointment when you look at the charts. I've even felt the urge to sell some crypto just in case it goes lower, but I've made that mistake of selling some before when I felt scared, and it ended up recovering pretty quickly after I sold. I did that in like May 2020 and sold some Bitcoin for 5,000, thinking that it might go down to 3,000. And then also in July 2021, ended up selling some Crow and Bitcoin at 28,000 and Crow at like 8 cents, thinking that it could go lower. And then I ended up rebuying those positions at higher prices. So I let my emotions get the best of me. It's not an easy task to just ignore them. Something that I try to do is see the good out of any scenario. So instead of thinking, dang, all of crypto is down so much, this sucks, I should just sell some and not lose more money, I can think instead, well, there's so many incredible buying opportunities all around the market, and if this goes lower, then I'll get more coins and my portfolio can grow a lot during this time. When there's major fear in the markets, that is usually the best times to buy. Looking back historically, back in 2018, after the bull run of 2017, I remember seeing all over the news and social media that Bitcoin was the biggest scam and that all of crypto was going to zero. This caused so much fear in the markets, and even I myself was nervous, but I just held on, and I wish that I was working more to invest because I had only invested about $1 to $2 grand into crypto since 2017 because I was going to college in a different state up in Idaho, and I couldn't really afford investing for a really long time. And even to this day, I haven't invested in crypto since mid-2019, so almost 3 years. Once I'm able to, that'll be super helpful when we're in a bear market. The extra $20 you invest occasionally can be an extra few hundred in the next bull run. As scary as a bear market can be, this is where the real wealth is created. By following these tips, and more than just investing your money into the market, investing your time to learn more and perfect the craft of investing and trading. If you've enjoyed this video, check out my video where I explain how to dollar cost average into the markets. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, as always, keep it in the green.